Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Match Analysis. Today we are going to be hopping into some Frosty Faustings online matches here. Frosty Faustings online, typically an offline event, but in the COVID era, we are kind of making our way through and figuring things out, and online's the way to go. Mortal Kombat has a excellent netcode, so the tournament was for the most part able to really still highlight and showcase these high-skilled players. And we're going to be taking a look at that, breaking down the gameplay and seeing what's going on. So let's go ahead and get into this. This is going to be the first match. Also, this is me. For those of you guys that don't know what I look like, this is what I look like. So, you know, apologies in advance. Let's go. So we hop into the match here, and one of the things I love to talk about is opening moves. I am really curious as to what the first thing players are going to do. I think it's very telling of what their plans or intentions are in some cases as well. So here we see right out of the gate, Jade's jumping away. Kitana Prime. Why am I here? Okay, there we go. Kitana Prime is jumping away. Now, so is FueledPunk. So both players are immediately backing off. That is their go-to plan. Also, let me know if the audio is fine on this as well. I have no idea if you guys should be able to hear me. There should be some music, and then you guys should also be able to hear the matches as well when I bring that up, when that's playing. But immediately, Kitana Prime jumps away, starting to throw out those projectiles, and that's going to likely be the Jade approach for a lot of Jade players in general. Jade, if he has that air glaive, which Kitana Prime does, is going to be fond of jumping back, throwing that glaive. When she's glowing, it's really hard to contest it unless you have a projectile explicitly that beats it, or like a teleport, you know, some move that is a blatant, oh, this deals with that. But if you don't, if you're just kind of working with your normal kit, then going to be very difficult. Cabal's kit in particular does not include anything that's going to have really great coverage for dealing with these air glaives. Now, a bit of a spoiler, it's not going to end up being a giant factor in this particular set. KP ends up switching characters. But, you know, that initial approach of, I'm just going to take to the sky and throw some glaives, not uncommon from Jade players. And even now on the ground, lots of glaives. More glow. And see there, the glow allowing that buzzsaw to just go right through. I mean, Jade players are able to just totally ignore the projectile aspect of the game. And in a game like Mortal Kombat, every character, until Jackie Briggs, every character has a projectile, has a fireball of some sort. Every single one of them. All of them. And Jade gets to be like, no thanks to all of that. That is not the case in other games. There are like a bunch of characters in like Street Fighter that don't have fireballs. You know, pick your fighter. It's not a thing. And for a character to be able to completely turn off that part of the gameplay, very, very powerful. And Cabal has good projectiles. It's not like he's got bad projectiles. They're not the best, but he can kind of hang in there. Not going to be able to hang in there, though. So here's a play that does go through the glow, and that's Nomad Dash. So just straight up raw Nomad Dash. He's kind of caught on that KP is maybe spending a little bit too much time zoning here. KP hasn't been going in, and as a bit of a hint, his variation name up here is a Dance Please. He's got the Delia's Dance move equipped, but he hasn't been going in and applying it just yet. And part of that's because in some ways you could say, well, if you're not going to make me go in and apply that, then I'm not going to do that. If my opponent can't graduate to the next level of the competition, which is me actually or getting up close to me so that we can fight, then I'm just going to keep throwing glaives all day. That's in my favor. However, FueledPunk has shown that he has an answer. So I think that now that FueledPunk has finally made his way in, gotten his first opening, we're going to see way less of the jump back glaives or the purpling up as much, and Kitana Prime is going to be willing to kind of keep it more in line with up close and personal. And look at this huge armor break call out from FueledPunk as well. FueledPunk definitely making the right moves here. And with a character like Jade, this is crucial. At least so far what KP has been doing is KP has been trying to run away. KP has been trying to put some distance between his opponent and himself so you can put those glaives up. What that means is that the clock is going to work against you, the chip is likely going to work against you, she's going to be glowing, so you're not going to be able to hit her back with glaives. So being able to get as much damage as you possibly can even if it is just tacking an extra 100 damage on because of a crushing blow, that is going to allow you to, in what ends up oftentimes feeling like a war of attrition, hanging in there, and in a lot of cases taking the lead. You can see the health numbers peaking right here through. The health bars obscured, but here 827. FueledPunk now has the life lead. He spent that whole beginning of the round getting chipped out, or sort of chipped by those glaives and not really getting anything done, and now he's taking a massive life lead, basically a throws life difference between the two. Yo, what's going on, Speed Demon? And then he's right in there with that slight gas. Dude, look, slight gas. We saw a lot of slight gas in this particular event. There were 2 Cabal players in top 8, and they definitely were, both of them at one point were, I think they mirrored each other, and they were both slight gassing. Lots and lots of slight gas going on. Yo, Speed Demon, that is insane. That is insane. During match analysis, we just dropping gift sub bombs. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you. That is wild. The generosity knows no limits. I really appreciate that. I hope you're having a great day, Speed Demon. Yo, what's going on, Super Andretti? As well as KTG KSG. Thank you so much. Alright, I got briefly distracted there. The generosity was fantastic, though. So armor. Oh yeah, armor break, life lead on Jade. So that's gonna be good. And now FueledPunk, he's gonna back it up, but it's pretend back it up, right? He's not actually backing away. Yes, these are Frosty Faustings matches. Because he has access to the air gas blast, or the air slight gas, look at how far away he is. And right now, his momentum, because this is a jump backwards, his momentum is going to continue to carry him further away. But because of slight gas, and what this is perhaps doing to KP sees that you've jumped back. So KP may feel, oh, okay, I can set up a glow, or this is a good time for me to honestly do anything, right? Do anything. Now, KP in this particular case, I think he's not going to get taken too much for granted and just think he can get away with getting set up. He does make an attempt here at some point, I think, to do something, or he at least holds his ground, knowing that that slight gas is going to bring him back in. But now we see the Delia's Dance come out. So FueledPunk has graduated past level 1, which is the air glaive, and now he's got to deal with the Delia's Dance when they're up close, and that Delia's Dance is a big threat. Ooh, wow, the glow actually lets the body go through too. That's something, you know, players will experiment with. It's like a toss-up. I feel like there's not many interactables that beat glow, but almost every single one where you toss something is not on that list. And this is getting close, dude. Look at this. This is so big, and this is a air slight gas special. This is not something that any other character can really do. I don't even think that Jackie can do this. There's a handful of characters that do have flight moves, so I guess like Spawn can do this, but there is so much utility in this, because what he goes for here, he doesn't have to go for. It's not locked in that you have to go for a jump in afterward. You're more than welcome to empty air slight gas into throw, or even if they do not get hit by it, they're still having to hold the pressure. So go straight into a jump in, and then he catches the breakaway. So not only is he going to be doing big damage from this fatal blow, enough to take the round, but he's also stealing the meter away from his opponent in round 2. And I don't remember if it ends up being that big of a deal. I think KP actually does a good job of kind of keeping his distance and staying away, which you see him immediately trying to do. Never mind. So he gets opened up, and because he got armor broken before, I got this completely wrong. Because he got armor broken before, this damage, all of it, which is going to be quite a bit, is all guaranteed. This would have been arguably a better place for that breakaway. You know, hindsight, obviously, hindsight 20 is clearly the factor here. KP didn't know he was going to go for the break or the fatal blow there. He was expecting to get out and maybe clutch it out. But of course, you know, knowing that, that does mean then that this 317 that he's got to hold in round 2 is part of that. It's absolutely part of that. Look at that. Air slides himself into the corner and ends up catching a crushing blow. And on top of this crushing blow, look at this. Again, the defensive meter is still not back from that armor being broken. So this damage right here, also, you just have to hold. And this is considerable numbers from Cabal, just shy of 400. So it was, 317 plus 400. We're now looking at 700 damage. That at least half of that could have been nullified if the breakaway was intact. And it's not a slight against KP, it's just to note how powerful it is if you manage to break someone's armor for the round win. Going into that next round, they are in such a deadly position. And that's also, in a lot of ways, the risk of breaking away at the end of a round. If you get armor broken, if they have a fatal blow and they catch you when you're trying to sneak out, it can be very deadly for you. And that's unfortunately what ends up happening to KP here. So right now, FueledPunk working on a flawless victory here. Okay, full 1,000 health. KP 25% remaining.
Almost 400 there, working on a flawless.
Wow, I just said that. Good job, past me. Man, there's probably going to actually be that happening a lot. This is my own commentary on top of this, and I'm assuming I'm going to have the same ideas. So, similar ones. But I'm going to be able to break stuff down a little bit more. Like, so this is that Delia's Dance stuff here that KP has got. I mean, it's in the variation name, and I think that when it comes to Jade, this is one of her best moves now. It allows her such great options. One of the reasons that it is so good is that Jade is one of the few characters that has a string that is plus, that has a flawless block gap on it. So there are characters like Kotal Khan has a string where he swings the sword and then he jumps up and does this overhead. And that string has a flawless block gap, but it's not plus. So there's not a huge incentive to go for it. What happens with Jade is that if you block the string and when it's plus, then she can go for it again, and it's very difficult, if not impossible, to interrupt. So you're sort of stuck. If you block it and don't flawless block it, you're stuck having to block it again. And the Jade player can essentially loop that over and over again. Now, if you flawless block it, it becomes punishable, but the risk then to flawless blocking it comes in the form of Delia's Dance. If you try to flawless block it, you get hit by Delia's Dance, which then lets them loop it again. So it's basically got this little built-in mix-up on it, and it ends up being actually incredibly powerful, quite the nuisance, and forces the player on the defensive side to commit to an action. Are you going to commit to thinking that the Delia's Dance is coming and try to block and punish that, or are you going to commit to the flawless block timing and actually, flawless block this thing and then go for the punish at that point? And you see that there are, like, right here, he tries to poke out or something, like just the stagger in doing it empty. That is another option. And because KP's able to continuously kind of throw those out, he does get quite close and actually ends up securing the round. So that back three string, we're definitely going to continue to see that string coming out. Look at this big call out here from KP, 411, and this is in some ways a similar story. It's not the exact same because this is the armor being broken at the start of the round instead of the beginning or the end of another round. So it's still good that FueledPunk tried to get out of it, but now because he has no breakaway, he's got to deal with all of this follow-up. The other thing too is I think FueledPunk is running with the Nomad Dash cancel, but the Nomad Dash cancel also takes defensive meter. So this out of nowhere raw Nomad Dash, which he may have been suspecting a glow or something like that and was trying to keep that with KP with this big of a life lead, anticipating that he's going to start jumping away, start throwing projectiles, start zoning, is not unheard of, right? That's a safe assumption. It's a false assumption. He is wrong, but it's not a crazy idea to have, right? So FueledPunk, he goes for the dash, doesn't have any defensive meter to cancel it, doesn't have any defensive meter to stop this damage either, and KP is just going to set up. Now, he's playing Jade, and Jade doesn't have any built-in launchers in terms of like a special move that you can cancel freely from whatever you want. She does have some launching strings, so her overhead string is obviously the launching one. It's a little on the slow side though, so KP opted to not go for that. I think likely for I would say two reasons. One is that the overhead's a little slow, and if he had mistimed the punish there, we are playing online, if he had mistimed the punish on that one, then he would have been punished himself. the way that he chose to go was a lot faster, so it was guaranteed to hit. And if he did somehow mess it up, he was doing it in a manner that was going to keep him safe anyway. He was going to be able to see that he messed up and then adjust trajectory on the way. So that, I think, is crucial. The other reason being that even though his opponent doesn't have any defensive meter, launching his opponent into the air still... It's not... Jade doesn't do crazy damage. I think with meter, which KP doesn't have right now, so you can do the amplified glaive after the overheads to continue combos, but KP doesn't have any meter. So his overhead combo is honestly not going to be for a lot of damage even if he catches him, and what it does do is it knocks his opponent down. And knocking your opponent down in MK11 gives them access to their wake-up options. Now here, FueledPunk doesn't have any wake-up options other than delayed get-up, but delayed get-up is still a way to avoid damage and, you know, figure something out, prolong the event. So KP decides to skip that and instead just goes for grounded damage, because then when you keep your opponent grounded like this, okay, which is not bad damage, 180 damage there, which I guess he did have meter. He could have used the meter on the overhead for a combo there. So 180 is not bad, but because he hasn't launched them, he's going to take less damage, or do less damage, but he's going to put them into this restand scenario. And we've seen the Delius dance and how powerful that's been. We'll see if that ends up coming up here. So here we go, and that's the staggers from that string that's plus on block. Now, FueledPunk has a good idea trying to poke out, but trying to go to the skies against Jade is a bit of a no-no.
He's gonna get thrown and crushing blow and done.
And now we just got KP. Glow is up. He's got a huge life lead right now, 95% to 9. The glow is there. Also, another thing, too, I want to note real quick, because I just watched it happen, and it's not that important, but you know, this is a call out to Jade players. Look what happens here. Jade is glowing. A projectile is coming. If this was Combat League, the Jade player would block anyway. You know I'm right. You know I'm right. We've all seen it. A Jade player blocking projectiles that are going to pass right through her. KP is no regular, ordinary Jade player. He is just going to walk right through it. No fear. I think that is a big thing that a lot of Jade players could throw into their arsenal, because when people throw stuff at Jade just to try to freeze her up because it works on your lower level Jades, that buys them a little bit of time to tick off the clock on Glow so that they can start throwing stuff, so that they can keep running away from you if that's what they're going for. Jade players need to recognize when they're glowing, and need to recognize, particularly against characters that don't have a special move or are advancing normals that can really catch them, that when you see movement, if it's a fireball, just march right through. No fear at all. There are a lot of Jade players that will still try to block it, and I mean, yes, you're reducing the chip, but you're also not getting in anymore. And that's them whiffing over there. Big uppercut though from KP to take it, finish the round out, and that is the game going over to KP for game 1.
It's so rough to do, even with air slide gas and the range on Cabal's normals. Jade's uppercut is just so big, and at that point it felt like
I'm currently in the past talking about how big that uppercut is.
Shimmying back and forth, sitting around waiting.
Oh, there I am. And the uppercut is really good from Jade. Jade does have one of the best. Many would say probably the best. I think there's arguments to be made about other ones, so it's hard to pinpoint which one is explicitly the best, but a very good uppercut that cannot be argued against. It's got a lot of range, and that character just, I mean, it gets to you, right? There's memes for a reason. So KP obviously going to have to stick with Jade, and FueledPunk is going to be sticking it out with Cabal. I want to say FueledPunk does not make any switches off of Cabal. He sticks his gun to his guns the entire time, the entire tournament.
Make some adaptations here. I think this is in some ways though a similar story to what we saw with Mighty Unjust. It's
so
in some ways the
we'll see if the sort of approach is different. Oh, looking at the build though, he doesn't have the Nomad Dash cancel. He does have the hook grab. He must have a different build with the Nomad Dash cancel. Or I'm thinking of Herbs, who is the other Cabal player. He definitely was running Nomad Dash a little bit.
And she's got glaive she can toss while she's up there. She is not afraid to take these guys.
Yo, what's going on, CeeLo the Box? I hope I didn't get my ass kicked too hard. Oh man, that is unfortunate, because the thing about Cabal, like this kind of stuff, for Cabal, jump kicks into air slight gas is technically like combo territory for this character. That's how wild this character is. It's a bit tight to hit, and it might also be based on like the height of where the jump kick connects, perhaps, to give you enough time to actually chase them down. But this character's ability to just kind of jump all over the screen and on hit be able to confirm into big damage, that's huge. FueledPunk's going to drop it this time around, which is in some ways crucial, right? Like, that's not a good thing to happen. Look at that. Gets the armor break as well. Big call out here from FueledPunk. Very nicely done. Or from KP, I should say. Whoops. Wrong one. Yo, what's going on, Blaze? So, FueledPunk is going to the air a lot. It's part of playing Cabal with air slight gas, and it had happened in a previous set as well, where just a character with good air coverage actually does a great job of dealing with Cabal, because Cabal with air slight gas, Cabal wants to be in the air. He wants to be up there. He has so much bullshit he can do once he gets there, that you'll find a lot of Cabal players are willing to just be jumping around. And FueledPunk, he does spend quite a bit of time up in the air, so he's going to take another hop, and he can do that. Like, you see how he threw the kick out and then did the slight gas? He can do all that, and like, it's not just that, oh, he did a kick, no slight gas is coming, we're good. No, it can all happen. It is very, very deadly. But an uppercut keeps it covered. The breakaway as well off the down one convert. KP definitely making the call-outs here with this Jade, and he's got a huge life lead right now. Spoke too soon. FueledPunk answers back. And now they're just kind of, you know, taking each other's turn, but that Delia's Dance comes out. He hasn't been using it too much, but the other thing, too, is FueledPunk commits to a roll. I was talking about it earlier. When Delia's Dance is on the table, you have to... It forces the defensive player to commit to something. If they're just going to sit there, it allows the other player to really think, okay, I'm going to go for the plus frames over and over again. So, in this case, FueledPunk is... immediately, there's not even like it's not after a few of them happening. He's just immediately, all right, I'm flawless blocking that. And that's another string, and it's important to note for some players, when you flawless block that string, you notice how he didn't spend any meter on anything. He just did a jab punish. It's negative enough to be punished. There are a bunch of moves like that you do not need to spend meter or resources on those. There are some things that if you just flawless block them, they become punishable, and you can just punish them outright. And FueledPunk wisely doesn't worry about spending his resources on a flawless block up 2. He's just going to go straight in for a jab punish. There's no defensive meter to stop this either. So this is going to be full damage, and we're talking about slight gas damage. So 327 for a bar is not bad at all. And this should be the kill here for FueledPunk. Yeah, and another big Cabal perk, too, is the ability for that hook grab, that hook slam he has, to basically be a side switch as well. Cabal is a character that if he wants you cornered, he's hitting a combo, he can keep you cornered. If he wants to get out of the corner, he can do it. And it's because he has really good control of the sides through a lot of his tools. His air hook grab does the same thing. This was something that threw me off. I was actually shocked. This is so close to hitting. The way that this ended up working, I got startled on commentary too. So he gets cornered, a lot of pressure coming out, a lot of Delia's Dance, and the amplify from Delia's Dance too. Like Delia's Dance is punishable on block, but it can be amplified on block as well, as KP just did, and it becomes, I think, less negative, and it's got so much pushback. Cabal is not crossing this gap this quick. It's like, I think it's like minus 13, but it doesn't matter. It's not happening, and it might even be less than that. I don't know. I'm not a Jade player, but like this is not being punished. So KP gets some distance, gets caught by an amplified buzzsaw, which typically would allow Punk to get a combo, but just barely too far out. I want to say a couple frames earlier, he might have been able to get it, but this throws me off. He ends up running out, but he gets out of the corner, so not all bad things. Ends up out of the corner there. Hey, what's going on, Rorschach? So backing away, buzzsaws are out, glow is up. And now the buzzsaws are gone, right? Now, FueledPunk does the good thing of adjusting to that and not spending a bunch of time running away or even wasting his time throwing glaives through or throwing razors through Jade. And he goes straight in with the slight gas and catches and gets the armor break. So big call outs there from FueledPunk. uppercut as well. Cabal has a really good uppercut too. It's 9 frames, one of the very few. Oh wait, no, it's Kodokan. Never mind. I lied. His uppercut is pretty decent though, and he should be able to get the kill here. Yep, full combo, nicely done by FueledPunk. And what did he get this off of? So he's got no life left. KP's coming in, 366 left, and he got it off of air slight gas and his jump normals. This is so good. The hook sword has such great range. This is a range where most characters jump normals. Your apex of your jump is going to be about right here. If you jump, your fist is going to go about to right here. As you come down, maybe right here, you'd become a bit of a threat. But at the same time, KP's throwing a glaive at you. So if you're waiting for your jump to get all the way to here, you're going to get hit out of it. Like, that glaive was on its way. But because it's those hook swords, has enough distance, and going to be able to also churn out tons of damage. And this is on an air-to-air. This is not on a jump-in combo. This is an air-to-air that Punk is able to go into slight gas, which allows him to keep going. And he's got all this meter, and he's just going to spend it. Only needed to spend 1 bar, by the way, and still going to be doing more than enough damage here to claim the round. This is going to be cleanly into the mid-40s, I believe. Oh yeah, it doesn't do the last hit there if you kill them. Oh, okay, no, it did. 415, so not mid, but... No, not yet, not yet. You're a little early, Speed Demon. You're a little early. Not yet. We are 1 week away. 1 week away. It is soon. Today is just a match analysis. I usually do these on Mondays, but I did Frosty Faustings over the weekend, so that kind of threw my schedule off. But yes, tournament is 1 week away, dude. I'm super pumped.
Game number 2. We'll see what Kitana Prime's response is here now.
I think Kitana Prime did.
So now KP does switch off of Jade, I believe. No, he does stick to Jade. Okay, no, it's at the end. It's at the final. All right, so we continue to see Jade here, and it's the same builds from both players as well. Lots of Delia's dance in KP's build, and it's definitely been a bit of a factor. We'll see if it gets turned up a little bit more here. Backing away. Oh, look at that air range again, dude. This is so far. I mean, look at how deep this jump is. He jumped from here. From here. KP's all the way over here. This is very, very, very far away. But air slight gas gets him this far. Halfway there. And these hook swords are going to actually get all the way to there. From here to there. Cabal has some of the deadliest range, particularly on air-to-airs. Even his jump-ins, though, are wild. I think Devora is another character that is in contention for that, and she also has a bit of a weird flight move. But her flight move is nowhere near, I think, as quick to be able to go into offense from the flight move as Devora's is. I think Devora's you have to, like, fully cancel. People can see that shit coming. Big crushing blow, immediate breakaway, smart play from KP. Doesn't want to take the damage. Don't blame him. He is, of course, going to be locked in the corner, but they just stare each other down until a throw comes out, and that's going to be a side switch throw. And now, here we go. So, early on, we saw recently that FueledPunk, when he sees this string coming, he's going for a flawless block, right? This is where you let go of block, right? You let go of block, and then you got to feather it, brother. You block again on the right frame, and you get the flawless block timing here. But because of Delia's dance, this has now become a mix-up. Cancels into Delia's dance. Delia's dance is plus enough that gets to keep on pressing buttons. And right back into the same mix-up. So, and then, as you see, right here, gets hit by it, right? And then, no flawless block, or poke into the Delia's dance. Delia's dance again. Like, look at that. That pressure, that loop in the corner was all Delia's dance. It was pokes into Delia's dance, overheads into Delia's dance. I believe the overhead into Delia's dance, something about that as well, is that is overhead. So that becomes a 50-50 in some ways. Granted, the second hit of that overhead is rather slow, so you can kind of see it coming and adjust your block accordingly. But if you've got awful reactions like I do, or if you're just, tournament nerves, there's a lot of pressure, there's a whole bunch of people watching on the stream, there are a bunch of other reasons that could also maybe not get blocked properly. Although he got hit by the first hit, so, you know, damage is already done.
Man.
And just keeps on looping it. Another throw to open him up once FueledPunk is getting too defensive.
Okay, good attack gets him out of it. Honestly, FueledPunk, another hit will kill.
And there it is again. Yet again, going for that string back 3, which is plus on block with a flawless block gap. But you forego the plus frames, you go for the risk of the Delia's Dance, and it creates a mix-up, because if they try to flawless block the plus frames, they get opened up, you get to do it again. It is so good. There, staggers it, gets hit out of it. So far, every stagger, FueledPunk's been doing a good job of challenging.
Here's the big jump in, no breakaway to stop this, and no scaling from the Gears rock either.
Look at that, 316, big uppercut.
I'm not a fan, I'm sorry, Dwayne.
Wow, look at these numbers, too. Are you gonna... Oh, wow, okay, he actually didn't kill, but 342. What did he get to open that one up?
Sorry, Dwayne.
So this is just off of a grounded string, but 2-3 is a pretty good launcher. Hook grab does grab off of it, so you can keep going, and then the air slide gas. And that was, I believe, 1 bar as well. He just spent bar on hook grab, so he didn't spend it on anything else. And that started from Nomad Dash as well. That has a lot of scaling, so if he catches you with just like a raw 2-3 and Nomad Dashes late in the combo, even bigger numbers. So breakaway is available. KP doesn't go for it, although you do see FueledPunk make the attempt to go for the armor break. This is his armor breaker. Doesn't find the armor, but it's still good damage. It's still decent damage, and that's one of the perks of having a decent armor break.
On the uppercut, just barely out of range. Those hook swords coming in handy.
And now FueledPunk's just abusing his range. Finds the opening, goes for another armor break here. I think the one thing that I don't necessarily, I mean, I'm not really sure, but I think amplified hook grab is maybe the only questionable thing. Amplified hook grab, I don't feel like it does enough extra damage, and for what he could do with that meter when he does catch his opponent, much better. Now, that being said, probably the reason behind it is he sees this defensive meter. He's not trying to launch his opponent and let them break out, so he's going to take whatever grounded damage he can get, and then he'll amplify that, because if he can kill you without launching you, then he doesn't need to worry about it. So yes, he could get more damage off of the air grab, or the air hook, but going for the amplified grounded hook just gets him more uncontestable damage, gets that life lead better, and gets him that much closer to victory here. And against KP, very fearsome opponent. I don't blame him for just trying to do what he can to close it out and take care of it. Ooh, raw Nomad Dash. No breakaway from KP yet again, though, smartly, because that hook slam has been coming out every single time from FueledPunk, and now would kill. Not a lot of life left for KP, and gets caught. Looked like KP was challenging here on this string. For the most part, I want to say that FueledPunk had been staggering this string. This string right here, he hadn't been finishing it, so KP thought it was his turn, and not going to happen today. FueledPunk is going to go ahead and take that one. So FueledPunk's doing a good job of abusing the Cabal range. A lot of air gas blasts all over the place. Very, very difficult to hold this character down. He also was making bold reads against the back 3 string. Real quick, before Jade goes away, I want to note, I did the commentary. There I am. Kitana Prime was playing against Zintai earlier. It was a 3-0 in KP's favor, and that Delia's Dance was a big star of that show as well once KP was able to get in. So Delia's Dance, very, very powerful, but FueledPunk did a good job of challenging it. That was what was important. FueledPunk was willing to commit to either or. I think in the Zintai matchup, Zintai was just waiting for Delia's Dance too much, which meant the plus frames kept coming out a lot on him. But FueledPunk was willing to challenge it, and by challenging it, it forced KP to have to make hard decisions about what he wants to do. Because ultimately, it's a 50-50, but it's a risky one. It does have, it's punishable on block and on flawless block if they read it right. So forcing KP to like acknowledge this is a risk got him to maybe tone it down a little bit, and FueledPunk was able to make it out alive. So we do see Kitana now come out here from KP. So I think this is a character that'll deal with Cabal quite well. Cabal spends a lot of time jumping and zipping around in the air. Kitana's got air fans, so that's going to be a big discourager for Cabal going to the sky. And you see right off the bat, FueledPunk doesn't actually hop at all. He does, take a little bit of time to hang out on the ground there. Did feel confident throwing a lot of buzzsaws, but because there's no glow, but Kitana Prime able to successfully avoid the majority of those.
Nice flawless block on the jump.
Yo, what's going on? I am the Knight.
Right back though is KP on the string response.
Buff Jade, he says. Blasphemy. Alright, ooh, jumping into... Look at this. Slight gas on block into another jump. And he didn't commit, but that just right there is oppressive. That is so deadly in the hands of a good Cabal player, that they can just, whenever they want, jump in into nothing, jump in into more jump-ins. It is wild. So we haven't seen a lot of air slight gas in the neutral here from FueledPunk. And that's because these fans are going to do a good job. He just did it right there, but he hasn't been doing it as much to get in as I think we saw him doing it a little bit earlier. And that's because those air fans are a good deterrent for that. Obviously, you still have to do it, right? You spent 2 slots on that ability. You're still going to do it, but you see him willing to take a bit more of a grounded approach here. Now, he does go for jumps when he does have the frames to do it. Right there on that knockdown, there wasn't enough time for KP to meet him in the sky with a fan. Also, when he's point blank up close, there's also less time for KP to react and get to the right positioning here. So there's another knockdown after the crushing blow, and immediate breakaway from KP to stop the damage. FueledPunk knew it was coming, though. He actually wasn't even committing to damage. So he's going to go for a jump here, and the reason he's willing to jump here is that KP doesn't have enough time to get up and throw a fan. So that does allow FueledPunk to get away with that. So he's being much more measured in his decisions to go for the air slight gas, which is important. If you're going to play Cabal, you have this shiny tool that's great and gets you around and gets you big damage, but you can't overuse it. You don't want to be too predictable, particularly against characters that have also good air control. So he's been very selective with when he does take to the skies, and it's when he knows he has the sky under control. His opponent doesn't have a really great ability to set up and deal with it unless they spend meter. And speaking of meter, there's no up 2 coming either, right? There's no defensive meter available from KP. He just broke away. So this is a guaranteed, I'm getting up there, I'm going to do the Cabal stuff. Gets poked out of it. That sucks. No commitment. Nice little throw there, though, from KP. Tries to throw again. This was a riskier jump here from FueledPunk. Jumping right here, wake up jump to get out of the corner, deadly. But the absolute right move, particularly because KP's going for another throw. How do you beat throw? You either duck or you jump it. Granted, uppercut crushing blow, if he was really, really reading a throw, uppercut crushing blow would have been the way to go. But jumping beats, for Kitana in particular, beats a handful of her meaty strings because you fall out of them, and they're like dial strings. You have to do the whole thing. They don't just come out on the first hit. So that's part of it. Jumping on Kitana on Wake Up is in some ways a little bit better. It forces her to have to use particular moves to deal with you trying to get out of the air, and a throw is not one of them. So FueledPunk's able to get out of the air, go for a jump kick, big combo coming up, no breakaway to stop it either. Look at this damage. Oh, he actually cut it a little short, 28%. I don't know if he cut it short on purpose. Looking at this, he honestly may have. He didn't push any button at all right here after this slight gas, and the intention might have been that even if he does get another hit, he's not going to get much out of it. So make your opponent think the combo is going to keep going, cut it a little short, and then go for some kind of redemption combo after. Does find a hit, not going to go into big damage though, and then KP answers back. And one thing about KP, I think I mentioned it on commentary too, is that he is so efficient with the way that he does things. If he doesn't need to do a fancy stylish combo, he doesn't do a fancy stylish combo. I lose games all the time going for a brutality and constantly. I think to myself, let me try to throw a brutality at this dude. That'll be cool, or whatever. And I die because of it constantly. And KP does not have that mindset. It's very, very what wins. What gets me the win? Fatal blow combo gets me the win. Okay, no need to be fancy. No need to go for a brutality. No need to even go for a fancy launcher into fatal blow. He kept it very, very short and sweet, and to the point of I need to get the victory. That's what I'm here for. I think it's a good lesson, particularly in tournament, for a lot of players to consider. I think when I play in tournament, I'm a little bit better about not trying to style on people. But I know in Combat League and definitely in casual sets, I spend a lot of time like, let me get this brutality, and then I have to make up for it. Particularly if I win the first round, right? Okay, let me do this long combo into brutality, and it's cool looking, it really is, but the over desire to do the cool stuff can get you killed, and KP doesn't have that. He is very clean, very efficient, very consistent. Because the other thing too is he doesn't do the big fancy swag combos. He does the combos he knows he can get 10 out of 10 times. And that's why very rare to see Kitana Prime drop a combo, very rare to see him leave damage on the table. He's going to maximize it every single time, and that consistency is going to really, really bring in big dividends for him. Because if you have a big fancy combo that you drop half the time, you are not making it far in that bracket against players that are hitting you for 5% less every single time. Dude, there's that. Look at that. Able to go for slight gas into the jump kicks and just keeps it going. I think that was a no meter combo as well. Yeah, it doesn't even spend any meter. Now, part of the reason he likely didn't spend any meter is we've seen this a lot from FueledPunk so far. Just going into the hook slam. Going into the hook slam as the combo ender. There's breakaway right here. And he does not want to go for air grab or the air hook and have the combo be broken. So he's going for the hook slam. It gives him side switch so he can keep the corner, and it'll break armor if somebody's trying to get out of it. Alright. KP does have his Fatal Blow, but I don't believe he'll get a chance to spend it. This is not going to kill, but now just not a lot of life left. Tries to get in with Ground War. The Flutter, that is tough. The Flutter was a little bit too close to the ground. This happens with air normals. You see KP on his way down, and I mean this is on its way out. He is swinging. He's genuinely swinging here. This is a normal. This is not what her jump just looks like. But he hits the ground before it happens. So that swing never happens. There's no block stun that FueledPunk is stuck in, but he still gets treated as if he had done an action in the air. So he is stuck on the ground in recovery and able to get poked out. So FueledPunk is going to go ahead and just snag a quick poke, and now he's on set point. I need a drink. The other thing, too, to note real quick also, he did change his variation. This is a different costume. This is a different name. He's still got the air slight gas. I believe this is the one with the what's it called? With the Nomad Dash cancels, but I'm not 100% sure. I didn't actually look. We could look, but we'll see what ends up coming out. That's the important thing. So I don't believe he has the air hook grab, though. He doesn't have the combo extension in that form. So the combos are going to be shorter just innately. I like that damage from KP2. It's clean.
There we go. Another air-to-air fan, and he's able to convert offense extremely as well.
All right, opens him up. Oh, that is such a tough drop, too. KP keeps it together, though. That's one thing to note, too. KP is, he's a really talented player. He's been playing for a while, and he's also a player that, a combo drop is something that we all just have to accept happens, right? You can't get frustrated. You can't linger on it. So this combo drops for KP, and he is immediately like, okay, what's the next move? I don't care that it dropped. What's the next move? And he catches him with the jump in. Able to close it out with the poke and bring it to final round here between these two. Now, looking at the resources, Cabal is going to get his defensive meter back. So they're basically going into the final round now almost completely even. If you look at KP, he's going to get this offensive meter back as well. Fatal Blow is here for FueledPunk, and KP hasn't spent his either. So they're going fully resourced up into this final round. Haven't seen a lot of crushing blows come out either. The armor break crushing blow, the counter hit crushing blows from Kitana, all still available here. So this is a very deadly round right now. Momentum could shift very quickly. Good challenges, pokes back and forth. The jump in connects though. Cabal is so deadly, and at that point blank range, he's actually that much harder to anti-air. These jump ins from deeper are actually a little bit more risky against Kitana because of the air fans. Goes into a flutter. Look at that. What a call. I mean, this is such a risk too. For the most part, FueledPunk has been more reserved going into the sky, right? He hasn't been jumping around nearly as much as he was doing it against Jade. somebody who watched when I saw him playing in the event, his other sets, a lot more jumping around. But this right here, he's kind of toned it down for Kitana. So to go for this, and he also does it quite low to the ground. Like this is very quick. It's very actually no, he does it late. Okay, he gets it low to the ground, but it's low to the ground in the inverse. He does it late in the jump, but he's kind of faking a jump back in some ways too, right? So he's making them think, I jumped away, I'm trying to get away, and then it's immediately changing into, oh no, here I am. And he's got the range for it. And he's been, like I was saying, reserved with this. He hasn't been doing this a lot. So KP hasn't been really hopping into the sky and throwing a lot of his own fans to have this coverage here. So KP not able to react in time and gets caught by that jump in at massive range. Like this goes so far. The sword barely catching her head there and able to turn it into damage. It's not just the jump in, but the back one also far enough. And this is full damage. Now, there is breakaway available here, but huge. And I think another thing, too, that's how you can tell that he doesn't have the amplify or the hook grab. Hook grab is how he would typically combo extend. He's got a different build here, though. So instead of going for hook grab, he uses the amplified buzzsaw at point blank. This is a universal way for Cabal to combo extend. He does not need air hook grab. Or air hook grab does side switch and more damage. Very good move. Not required. So he goes for the air hook grab and then the raw hook slam. Now, I gotta be honest. I think that if he would have gone for raw hook slam and no breakaway would have happened, I think the hook slam whiffs. I think the only reason this hits is because when you break away, you then gain breakaway fall properties, which are different. You fall slower, you have a bigger hurt box, so it takes you, or I guess you have a more horizontal hurt box, so it takes you more time to land. If you look at the way that she looks prior to that, she's more curled into a ball, kind of, as she's falling, right? She's curled up here, but once you break away, not only that, I think your head fucking shifts over here. Yeah, your head goes over here, and you become a lot bigger horizontally. And even here, we look at the hook slam. She's almost to the ground, but hook slam's way up here, but it is going to catch, because it does take a while for your whole body to get to the ground and for you to actually be safe. So he gets this armor break, and he's going to get the crushing blow. I was talking about those resources that were available. That was one of them. And now here in the final round, I mean, you can't take it with you. It's the final game. This is loser's side. It's over here. So you need to be spending it all. And FueledPunk does just that. He's got a big life lead right now. Defensive meter, and there it is. So there was, we hadn't seen it yet in this game, I don't believe. But here is the other ability he's got. This was the variation change he made, is right here. No mad dash cancel. He's got the defensive meter. He spends it. I think it's going to go away. Yeah, he spends the defensive meter, and now he's jumping. We haven't seen that the whole game. And KP, perhaps just not looking for it. He's already reeling from having his armor and spine broken. So, still trying to figure that out. FueledPunk catches him off guard. The jump in, and the thing is with that jump in, these point-blank jump-ins, when they're not contested, we're talking about air slight gas jump-in. So that's a jump-in kick into a jump-in punch, and eventually the defense just cracks. Gets the jump-in punch to connect, and that's going to find the mark.
Is going to take it. Oh, he's going to do a Fortnite dance to close it out as well. Disgusting.
Oh, man. Congratulations to Fuel.
So there we go. That is going to be FueledPunk bringing it home. Really solid plays from FueledPunk there. I like what I was seeing. That air slide gas just, again, proving to be an incredibly powerful move for Cabal. I will say this doesn't feel mandatory. It feels like it's a good build, a good play style, but if you don't want to play that way, you don't have to. Highly encouraged to do so, but there are other ways to play Cabal, I think, that have some viability to them. But here we do see FueledPunk bringing home the big victories here over Kitana Prime in a Game 5 final round scenario. So, congratulations to him. Also, want to real quick give a big shout out to Will English IV, who has allowed us to do this. You can see, actually you guys can't see, but this is all, you know, he's the one that streamed this, and this is up on his YouTube channel. I had asked him for his permission to do this, so I do want to give a big thanks to him. Potentially going to be working with him more in the future for some MK stuff, so keep a lookout for that. And obviously a big thanks to Frosty Faustings for letting me do this too. It's a really cool event. It's the first event that I ever did commentary for offline. and here online doing commentary for them again this year was an absolute blast. So big shout out to them. Make sure you guys check them out. Next year they are going back to offline. Happens in the Chicago area. So if you have a means to travel and you want to have fun at a cool event, definitely take a look at that. And take a look at Will English IV as well. That's going to do it for this episode of Match Analysis, though. We're going to hop into some more Frosty Faustings matches after this, and we'll take it from